We are going today we're going to work on the cable making lab. So in your supply kit you should have gotten some equipment here. So I've got a cable tester and Crimper tool, and this is a 110 punch down tool, pair of scissors. This is a 110 patch panel. So it's this would go into a rack somewhere or mount to the wall, and then on the back your wires are terminated here. And then also you've got, this is a wall jack. It's the same kind of connection, but this goes on to a plate that you would mount into the wall for an individual connection. And you'd also have some RJ45 connectors. Hopefully we sent you a few spares in there. The only thing that can't be reused is these RJ45s. Once they're crimped, that's it. They're done, and if it's wrong, you have to cut it off and start all over. And also some Cat5 cable. I've just got, this is just some cable that we had lying around, and for lab activity like this you don't need anything special, but so this should be in your kit as well. The color isn't significant. A lot of times when cable installers are installing it, they'll use different color codes for different things. I've seen like fire systems use red Cat5 cable, but it's all Cat5 it's all the same on the inside. So yeah, so I'm going to show you how to make a Cat5 patch cable, and also how to terminate the 110 patch panel and jack like that. So let's make a patch cord, a patch cable. So slide this stuff out of the way. So you're going to need the two ends and a piece of Cat5 cable. So I'll take this nice fresh piece here. So if you have ends that are sticking out here that's not nice and smooth, you'll want to take your scissors and trim that off to make a nice smooth edge. And then, oh, I forgot one thing. Excuse me a second. We need a stripping tool as well. So that's kind of important as well. So we need to get the cable insulation off. So you use a little stripping tool like this. The notch on the very end, the largest notch, is the one I'm going to use. It seems to work. So you give it a squeeze to open that up in there. There's a razor blade, and when I do this, I like to give myself an inch or an inch and a half. You want to expose the wires that are inside. Just one little twist like that. And the blade should score that insulation, and then it should slide right off like so. And then so now that inside of the Cat5 cable are 4 twisted pairs, a brown, orange, green, and blue pair. Okay, and there's also this strengthening fiber, which you can cut that off to get that out of your way as you work. All right, and so what we're going to do is we're going to follow the T568B standard. Let's use the B standard today. So the B standard will start with the orange pair, and so but we're going to untwist all of the different wires that are inside. Let's get them all untwisted. And we want to try to take as much of the waviness out. See how that's curved and kind of wavy? You want to remove the wave out of that as much as possible. So once I get them untwisted, I'll show you how I do that. So you just want to separate the twisted pairs. And then I like you know how you make a ribbon with at Christmas time, you take a pair of scissors and you You go like that with a ribbon and it puts a curl in it. Well, if you do that same motion, you squeeze it with your fingers on this wire and you give it a zoot, then it'll smooth that waviness out. So I'm going to squeeze real hard and just pull it like that. And if I do it a couple of different directions before I know it, it's reasonably straight. So you just do that over and over until you get the waviness out. It's a real pain to try to put a RJ45 connector on the wires when they're all crooked like that. So you want to try to get them as straight as possible. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. All right, have them nice and reasonably straight. And I'm going to start with my orange pair. I'm going to start on my left and work my way across to the right, and I will put it inside the plug so the plug goes with the tab facing down and away from me. If you do that, you put it on the left and work your way left to right, you'll get the colors in the correct order. Alright, so you start with the white orange, then go orange, then white green, then blue. So you want to try to arrange these in such a way that there's the minimum, they go the shortest distance. So white, orange, orange, then white, green, then blue. Well, I think maybe that'll go better over the top. White, orange, orange, white, green, blue, white, blue, then green, and then white, brown, and brown. So you get them in rough order: white, orange, orange, white, green, blue, white, blue, green, white, brown, brown. And then I just try to work them together. So I squeeze them on the bottom, kind of hold them so they keep their order, and then I just start pulling and stretching them until they're lining up side by side. The goal is to make them all into parallel lines that will fit inside of the connector. And I like to squeeze on the bottom and then squeeze on the top and kind of give it a shake and a tug. I'm pulling it, stretching it, and kind of wiggling it so they come to attention and they line up nice and straight for me. And they're kind of a mess at the bottom, but that's okay. Just as long as at the end they come nice and even like that. See that? And so you get them all to line up side by side. And then what I'm going to do, on the lab handout there's a diagram of this, but what I'm after is I want the wires to go into this connector and make it such a length that the insulation goes inside, just inside the very end of this. So I don't know what the length of that is. I suppose I could measure that, know the exact length, but I just go by feel. It's roughly a ½ inch or so, but that's how you want it in there with the blue slightly inside the end there like that. And so the other end reaches all the way to the end. So if you look at there's a little copper piece on there, that's what's going to do the termination of the wires. It's going to punch down into it. All right, so since I let go, I'm going to double check my order. White, orange, orange, white, green, blue, white, blue, green, white, brown, brown. Okay, so it's all still set. It's best not to let go unless you've got them in perfect order and they're not going to move around on you. But I like to hang on for dear life until I've trimmed the edge down and got it inside where I want it. So now I need a pair of scissors, and I use my finger as a guide, a good estimate, and then I cut straight across, give it a nice haircut so it's nice and even, and then I put my little, I feel like that might have been a little bit too short, but I'm going to go with it here. Slide it in there. Hopefully the wires won't jump out of order, but you can double check that. You just kind of take a look white, orange, orange, white, green, blue, white, blue, green, white, brown, brown. Keep our fingers crossed. I can't see that they jumped out of order. Push them all the way in. If you look on the end this way too, you should be able to see the shiny ends of the copper. If it's pushed all the way through, you can see, I don't know if you can see that or not, but you can see the ends of the wire through the end there. Once it's pushed in there, and notice how the insulation's inside there, it starts getting narrower there. If you leave too much in there, then it keeps the ends of the wire reaching the end. But I think I've got it just right about where I want it. And then you take your crimper, if I can remember how to do this guy. There you go. So this crimper's got some little teeth on it here, and those teeth are what's going to squeeze those little metal deals down. So it looks like it's going to have to go like this with the tab up on this, away from me now. Slide that in there, and let's give it a squeeze and see if that will push that together. I usually like to squeeze it a couple times just for good measure. It's squeezing those pieces in there, and if all goes well, it's on there forever now. It's crimped down, and that won't come off, at least with a human effort, unless you cut it off. And then you just rinse and repeat. You do the same thing. So I'll strip this one and arrange them in the right order. Again, okay, so like so, like that. Cut that piece out of my way. Untwist. Twist. Come on. Like so. Straighten them all out. Like so. And white, orange, orange. White, green. Then blue. Then white, blue, then green, and then finally white, brown, and then brown. Squeeze them together, give it the old pull and wiggle, get them to line up straight, squeezing, pulling. Orange, orange, white, green, blue. Nope, my green and my white green flipped. I can tell. Oh, they crossed up here. I got in too big of a hurry. Hold on here. Get back in place, white, green. There we go. All right, now they're starting to behave themselves. Got them nice and straight, roughly. Pretty straight. Haircut, stick it inside, go in all the way. Can I see them all? Come on. Yeah, I think I see all the ends now. In the crimper, squeeze, squeeze. Okay, fingers crossed. So now you get your little cable tester out. You stick one end in, like so. This comes apart, by the way, so you can go in different rooms if you need to check this out. Put this other one in here, like so. And now if all is well, if I did it right, you turn it on, and they should all flash green. Woohoo! I did it! First try, unbelievable. That doesn't often happen, especially when I'm making a video. So, all right, so that's a working Cat5 patch cord.